Hello and welcome to my channel. In this one I'm going to do a drawing of these clouds using oil pastels on a UART 800 paper. If you want to see the full video of this one as well as many others, check out my Patreon. So this is UART. I'm going to start by sketching out the shape of some clouds here. I want this cloud in the middle to be a little bit bigger, bulging out a little bit further. And there's another bulge here. And then kind of tapering off there for the sky. I'm going to mix a couple of blues. I'm going to start with this cooler sky blue color, which is almost like bluish violet, I suppose. I've talked about paper a number of times in the past because I've already done a series of drawings with oil pastels. And I think that the paper doesn't have to be sanded paper like this one, but it should have a little bit of tooth because it helps when you want to put in multiple layers. Anyway, let's do a little bit of blending. So that color is a little bit too cool now. That's not exactly what I wanted to achieve. I'm going to throw in a little bit of a light phthalo blue on top. This is much warmer. I'm going to mix these two together and see what happens. Maybe the color will be what I wanted. Let's add a little bit more of this phthalo blue. Do a little bit more blending. And step back. Is this the color that I wanted? It's pretty close. Pretty close, I think. Now let's blend that. A little bit more of this, just to even things out a little bit. Well, that's the sky, that's the background color. And now on top of that we're going to have some clouds. This is going to be a little bit tricky. These are a little bit more subdued in terms of color and the contrast against the background. You see, whenever you run into a tiny speck of dust or darker color, you get a mess. So oil pastels are kind of difficult in that respect. Not sure about the shapes I'm getting. I don't really like them that much. I'm going to try to soften them a little bit. See where that takes me. Don't know what's creating that darker color, but I'm creating quite a bit of a mess. I'm going to try to fix it as best as I can. Maybe even try to make it work for me by using it to create the shadow side of the cloud. Okay, so like I said, that greyish mess I created there, it's kind of working for me now, because it is, the cloud is supposed to be a little bit darker on the lower side, so let's try to do the same thing here, but this time intentionally. Chalk it up to one of those happy accidents, I suppose. Better not touch it anymore. I'm going to add some more clouds here, kind of scattered across that top part of the scene. So if you look at the reference, you will see that in the top part we have these small fluffy clouds, and then below them, in the middle of the scene, there's this large towering cloud, or a group of clouds. I soften them a little bit with my finger. As you can see, I'm going to leave this top part of the scene and that top group of clouds for now, and I'm going to start working on the clouds at the bottom. Not all of these clouds are going to be completely white. Only some parts of them will be white, but I will often go in with the white first to establish an area of lighter value, and then add details and values as needed. It's time to start throwing in some bluish and darker details here as well. Like a little bit of this darker blue, and this mid-tone cool grey is actually one of the darkest oil pastels I'm using here. It really creates a lot of contrast, but I will use it sparingly, and when I want to soften it or modify its color, I just go over it with a bluish color or something. So this is that warmer light pinkish, or light salmon color rather. I'm just using it to go over the white, make the cloud a little bit darker in some places, and give it a little bit of that warmer light around the edges, because like I said, I feel like, looking at the reference, I feel like some of the parts of these clouds, this group of clouds here at the bottom, are catching some of the warmer light that the clouds at the top are apparently not exposed to. I don't always need a clean edge everywhere, so somewhere I can soften it a little bit. I added a little bit more here at the top, and now I'm going in with a light salmon, because that's what I call it. That's what it looks like to me. It appears to be working pretty well for what I'm trying to achieve. Add that light reddish warm tone around the edges. A little bit of light grey as well can be useful, but this is a slightly darker grey. That's what I use when I feel like I need more contrast, when I need a little bit more shadow in some areas. I'm starting to work on some of these darker clouds with this cool grey. It's a little bit difficult to understand some of the shapes, but I see a few darker shapes there. Trying to figure out what to do with this bottom portion. Maybe just a little bit of light grey for now. This part does seem a little bit greyish, I think. A little bit more salmon here and there for some reddish tones, warmer tones. Time to finish the rest of these clouds here at the bottom. So I made that a little bit more three-dimensional. Maybe a few more darker elements here. Don't have to stick to the exact shapes. I need some bluish color here. Definitely more bluish. Maybe cooler. And these on top, perhaps they need to be a little bit lighter, or at least some of them. The noise that my paper is making is because it's slightly curved. It's a little bit difficult to get it to be completely straight, but it can be done. Now here I decided to soften these clouds at the top a little bit. Just go over them gently with my finger. Soften them a little bit. I think it looks a little bit better. The reason why it works is because when they're softer like this, there's less contrast, and that means that they won't compete with the main group of clouds in the center. They won't compete for the focus. They are a part of the background, as it were, whereas the towering cloud in the middle is the main subject, I suppose. Just finishing these corners. I'm going to soften this as well. I might as well put my signature here. That's the finished drawing. I hope you enjoyed the drawing process. I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye bye.